It's winter time to prune your grapevines. Perfect time actually, because it's totally leafless. You can see exactly where you need to prune. Now we need to prune grapevines, and most importantly, not so much to get lots of fruit, but to keep the thing contained. This vine would go and fruit regardless, but it would just get more and more rampant. So if we don't get in and prune it, we would have vines absolutely running through everywhere. The method that I use here on this vine is called the spur pruning method. Now what's that all about? Well, basically we have set up a main arm over this pergola. It could be over a fence, it could be along a couple of wires. So the main arm is important, and off the main arm are a series of these secondary arms. Can you see these here? There's one here, there's one here, there's some further down along the main arm. Now the secondary arm is where all the action is. That's where we set this thing up for fruiting. Right at the tip of the secondary arm is what we call the spur, and this is where we had the fruiting wood forming last year. Now what we want to do this year is to get rid of all of last year's growth and take it just back to a couple of buds on one of last year's main stems. So having a look at this one here, we've got two actually. There's two coming off last year's spur. We want to keep this arm as short as possible. So rather than us pruning back on this one here, we're going to actually remove that one and prune this vine back here. Back to two buds, and if we have a really close look, there's a bud here and there's a bud here as well. We're just going to prune off from up there. And what's going to happen from this point now is that in the springtime, which is not far away, these are going to shoot from here, and on that new growth is where we're going to get our fruit forming. Now we're just going to go through the entire vine, remove all of last year's growth, and prune back to those two buds, creating our spur for where this year's flowers and fruit are going to form. So let's just get on with it. So there you go, job done. You can see we've basically taken everything back, right back to this main frame and these secondary arms. Everything's gone, but most importantly, we've created these little spurs. These little spots here where the vine will shoot and give us our flowers and fruit. Got rid of all the congestion. There's plenty of room for this thing to grow happily right through the summer.